What is happening, everyone? Welcome back to G-Ball Vision. Tonight we are talking about some of the most iconic folding knives to ever exist. Knives that every avid collector, a collector of knives, should have had in their collection or should have in their collection. Now we have quite the list to hit on tonight, so sit back and relax and enjoy the show. We're going to kick this one off with the Benchmade Bugout, the iconic Benchmade Bugout. Very lightweight, a very useful drop point blade, a nice simple neutral handle. You know, it's not too big, it's not too small. This is going to be a very capable knife and something that you would have no problem taking with you pretty much anywhere. You can throw this in your gym shorts pocket or on your gym shorts band. Won't even know it's there. You can definitely throw it in khaki shorts or jean shorts pockets or jeans or whatever, and you will not even barely notice this knife is there. And that's one of the key roles of this knife and why it's so popular. The neutral design and how lightweight it really is. This one is an S90V and carbon fiber. I absolutely love this thing. This was the second knife that I ever bought. When I got into collecting knives. The Benchmade Bugout, hate them or love Benchmade. The Bugout is, in my opinion, it's a great knife. The only weak point of this knife is the Omega springs in there, but at this point in time, you can get aftermarket springs and, kind of have those on standby. But I love the Bugout. Let's get to the next one. Next up, we got the Rat Model 1 from Ontario Knife Company. This is a knife that everyone should have because it's such a user. It's a very affordable knife. Great useful drop point blade. They have AUS 8, they have D2, and they have some other special editions. There's nothing fancy about this knife other than it's just a workhorse. You have AUS 8 drop point blade. It's coated. I went with the all murdered out version or mostly murdered out version. But you can typically get these for like 40 bucks, 50 bucks, and you're going to be getting a very capable knife. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 standoffs, making this a very rigid and rugged design. You have all steel liners. There's no internal milling in there, so they are solid. You have about a 50% lockup on this thing. It's going to make this just an ultra good everyday carry, everyday user. And at that price point, you're not afraid to really run this into the ground, so to speak. The Rat 1 is definitely an iconic knife that I believe every collection should have in it. Let's get to the next one. Next up, we got the Spyderco Paramilitary 2, and I don't care which version you want to say is the best, whether it is the original drop point, whether it is the Warncliffe model you see there, the Cutlery Shop exclusive, which is my favorite, or if you want to say the Tanto version. The PM2 is iconic for many reasons. They come in a plethora of steels. They come in different blade shapes. The heat treats are all done exceptionally well. They use a variety of different steels that they do very well. Different colored G10 handles. But the great thing about these knives is they are some of the most utilitarian, if not the most utilitarian knives that exist. And because of that, and the reason why is they use different steels based on what your needs are. You can get that steel. It's going to be heat treated properly. They're going to put a fine edge on this boy right from factory. It's easy to open and close, whether you have gloved hands or not. You'll be able to easily open this guy up. You have a strong, dependable lock in the compression lock here. This has become my PM2 user, and that is why I keep the OEM clip on here. These are more of, now I did have a black MXG gear clip on there, but I ended up putting it on the PM2. This will get one eventually. I keep the OEM clip on for like a work user, and then I put a deep carry clip on if it's kind of a casual everyday user. But the ergonomics of these knives, the ability to choke right up behind that edge, get right up on that tip. You have a ton of control over this blade. It's very comfortable, very easy to carry, very dependable. One of the most dependable knives on the market to ever exist. The PM2 is a must-have. Next up, we have the knife and the reason why I started collecting knives. The Buck 110. This was the very first knife that I bought that really started my collecting habits. I went from getting this to the Bugout, and it was all downhill from there. S30V on the blade steel. You have a micarta handle. Very, very nice, guys. Boss heat treat. This thing came razor sharp. I mean, the Buck 110 speaks for itself. It's been around for a long time. You have a pocket clip on this version, the thumb studs, the S30V, the beautiful micarta. This does not get much use on that blade because it's a very special knife to me. I got the laser engraving on the blade. It's the knife that just kicked off my collection. It's the knife that kind of started it all. I had knives before this, of course, guys, quite a bit of knives, but that was through an extended period. This is the knife that really kicked off me starting a true collection. And, I used to use it quite a bit when I first got it, but it's mainly kind of, I do carry it once in a great while, more for like a dressy occasion. But I just absolutely love this knife and everything it stands for. USA made, done very well. Nice strong lock, a good neutral handle that's very comfortable in hand. Great heat treat, a great steel in S30V. I just love this thing. It's so good looking. It works so good. Just a great knife all around. You definitely need to have a Buck 110 in your collection. And just a quick one on this guy. We have the Ontario Rat 2. Definitely another iconic version. There's no reason not to just get the 1 and 2 basically at the same time. Kill two birds with one stone, so to speak. This one is also coming in AUS 8, but has the satin finish. Going to be identical to the Rat Model 1. It's just a touch smaller, kind of like a 1-2 punch. But the Rat 2 is basically just as iconic as the Rat Model 1. But just a little bit smaller than the Rat 1. Great 1-2 punch if you're looking for an affordable user that you can beat on and it keep coming back for more. Definitely recommend these two knives. Must-haves. And before we continue with this one, I'm not saying you have to get these identical versions of the Bugout or the Rat 1 or the Spydercos. Just having that knife is the qualifier. So if you don't get the S90V carbon fiber Osborne, you just have a Osborne, that counts. That qualifies. In this case, S90V carbon fiber, just like its little brother here, the Bugout. I wanted to have matching brothers here for those two knives. So S90V and carbon fiber it is. This came much later in my collection. I did go with an MXG deep carry clip on this guy and titanium studs. But the Osborne is iconic as all hell. I love that drop point style blade. It's not a reverse tanto. It's either a sheep's foot or it's either a drop point. You pick. It's not a reverse tanto. But you have that strong crossbar lock. Great S90V steel. Carbon fiber that just fills the hand beautifully. This thing is a workhorse with that nice thick tip there. Great little knife. I love the Osborne, and particularly I love this one the best. The Osborne is definitely a must-have for someday in your collection. Next up, we got the Kershaw Leak. I've beat the literal piss out of this knife. You have a 14C 28N, almost Warren Cliff blade. It's more of a sheep's foot, I guess, because you do have the little bit of belly. So it's a modified Warren Cliff in essence, but you are getting an assisted dual thumb studs and flipper tab here, 14C 28N. There's a bunch of different models of the Leak. This is a steel frame lock, and this thing is rock solid. It is quick to the punch. Decent materials. It's got a little bit of heft to it, but it's not a big knife, so it's easy to control and easily carried. The clip leaves a little bit to be desired, but I believe there are aftermarket clips for this. I've never found a reason to get it. I mean, it works good and it's functional. That's the point. It's not the most aesthetically pleasing thing to look at, but what it does do well is go into the pocket and come out of the pocket very well, and that's the whole idea of a pocket clip. So I get the design, and then there's a locking mechanism that I tighten down all the way so it couldn't be moved, but you can slide that up and it will lock the blade in place. But the Kershaw Leak is definitely a must-have for the collection. They're not very expensive, but they are very iconic. I love the Kershaw Leak. It's a great little user. Next up is going to be what some would say is the Bugout Killer. Now, this is the Hogue Deca version 2, and there are varying differences between the two. They are not the same knife at all, although the Hogue Deca is a very lightweight knife. Just like the Bugout, they have the very same or similar locking system. They are both thumb studs, but this one is more of a clip point in a sense than a drop point. And then they also make the Warren Cliff version, which I also have in the version 1, 20CV. This is USA made, Magna Cut, and it is absolutely beautiful. We have a cut test of this up on the channel. 30 minutes of cutting, and this thing is still going strong. I have not touched it since then. We're going to do a follow-up, but this thing went through 30 minutes of straight cardboard cutting, or close to that, and it just kept coming back for more, keeps coming back for more. You have this beautiful carbon fiber, black and gold carbon fiber, a nice minimalist deep carry clip there. I can see why people say this is the Bugout Killer. It's much more affordable. It's still USA made, still using premium materials. Now you can get more cheaper options than this one. You can get FRN, I believe, and 20CV for probably like 130-ish. I'm not sure what these ones are going for anymore, but I didn't get this one for much more than that. And you're getting Magna Cut and carbon fiber, SMKW exclusive. A Deca is definitely a must-have for being in the collection, whether you're talking version 1, version 2, clip point, or Warren Cliff. Get one of them and love it to death. Sorry guys, but I have to do it. The EMP EDC Nimble, the original Nimble, is very iconic. This is the knife that basically started the multi-deploying options, the fidget, the mastering of fidget, and being very high quality. The EMP EDC Nimble is, in my opinion, a very iconic knife. Probably the best secondary knife of all time, in my opinion, or one of them at least. You have the ability, because of that full finger choil, to get right up on that edge, get right up on that tip. It is thin, it is slicey, it is comfortable, it is beautiful, it is fidgety as all hell. M390 on the blade, all DLC'd, with the exception of the anodized hardware. In this case, it's a blue-green titanium anodized finish. Just a iconic, beautiful knife. This was the knife that kicked off my love for EMP EDC, and it was all uphill from there. But the Nimble is definitely an icon, and in my opinion, a must-have. Next up, we're bringing out the big dog, a Chavez, guys. Any Chavez, but particularly the 229. This thing is iconic. It is a must-have at some point. You're getting a beautiful M390 satin finished drop point blade. He does Tantos. He does Warncliffs. They are all awesome in my opinion. But there's just something about this dual ground drop point that's just masterful. It's beautiful. It's a tank. Riot made. It's comfortable. Fills out the hand beautifully. You know, whether you like the clip or don't like the screws or not, that doesn't have anything really to do with the knife itself. This thing is just a must-have, guys. The Chavez 229 of some sorts. I love it. I have the Warncliffe. I have the Kickstop Tanto 229. I love all three of them a ton. This was my first one, though, and I absolutely love the Chavez 229. Definitely an iconic must-have knife. Next up, we have the USA-made knife that made massive, massive waves over the last couple years. The TRM Atom. In this case, we have the DLC'd version with the titanium handles. This thing is absolutely beautiful. It is thin, it is slicey, it is pokey. You can easily get up behind that edge for nice controlled cuts. Get right up on that tip for precision cuts. You can easily poke this into something and slice the hell out of it. Dual titanium thumb studs for the deployment. This is on washers, but as you can see, has broken in beautifully. Very smooth. But washers are, you know, they're a different taste than bearings. But I love washer knives just like this. Great access to that titanium liner. You have a nice deep carry titanium pocket clip. And the base versions of the Atom are a very affordable price for what you're getting. A small batch, small USA company that does their heat treats well, that, you know, builds their knives well. Best customer service in the game, or some of the best customer service in the game. Just love TRM, love what they stand for, love what they do over there. The TRM Atom or the Neutron, must have in the collection. Get both of them though. Start with the Atom if you can. If not, get the Neutron, then get the Atom. One way or the other, get both of them. They are iconic and they are exceptional knives. Next up, we have the USA-made Spartan Harley, the 4-inch 2021 Special Edition Douglas Fir Tree Edition, S45VN drop point blade, titanium handles. This thing is an absolute beast. It's beautiful. They do all this engraving in the shop there, and it's built like an absolute tank. This is also on washers as well. It doesn't have to be a Spartan Harley, but get yourself a Spartan, get yourself a Chris Reeves, get yourself a USA Demco, a Hinderer, you know, something of that sort, something in that line or in that realm. I went with a Spartan Harley when I was kind of looking, you know, at that side of things. I ultimately went with the Spartan. I wanted something, you know, I didn't want to go with the Chris Reeves. I didn't want to go with the Hinderer. I wanted to get my own thing, something I thought, you know, kind of going against the grain. And I'm glad I did. This thing is just built like a tank. Feels great in the hand. You need to have a overbuilt tank that's USA made at some point in time in your collection. And whether that's Spartan, Chris Reeves, Demco, Hinderer, you know, etc., get one. You will love it. You will appreciate it. Let me know down in the comments, what are some of your favorite, most iconic knives? Of course, this is not all of them, guys. This is just some of them, and always, and of course, in my opinion. Let me know down in the comments what you think of this list. Let me know what some of your most iconic knives are. Let me know what some of the most iconic knives that you own are. I'd love to hear from you guys down in the comments. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. If you're new to the channel or you are not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button down below. I would love to have you here. We have lots more coming. Love you guys, and I will catch you on the next one.